Generative AI is the generative part means to generate. That we're talking about AI, not the traditional AI, which could calculate, summarize, more of a computing, computing on steroids type of a thing, find insights. This is where it is actually generating content. And while generative AI has been around for a long time, it really hit the spotlight when ChatGPT came out. It's just an amazing when you think of where we've come from. I remember the Star Trek movie where they had the whales and they went back in time. And if you remember Scotty, when he picked up the mouse and he said, "Computer," I never thought that they would have speech to text in my lifetime. Now, not only do they have speech to text, we have self-driving cars, and now we have software that can pass the bar exam. And so we've come a long way, baby. And when you look at any graph related to AI, the amount of investments, it's got that hockey stick curve. Everything is just going up, up, and up. And America, the United States, is dominating the investment into AI. And part of that, I believe, is because we do so much with the entertainment and with image creation and with video creation. And so there's a huge interest in how AI is going to affect the future of entertainment. In fact, we've got the strike, the writer's strike that's going on right now. And a big chunk of that, one of the big sticking points, is how are they going to deal with ChatGPT and other type of writing? Is it going to take away writers' jobs? Do you really need a person writer, a union writer, if you have somebody who computer program that can tell a joke? And how it's going to affect extras, people in the background who aren't the main characters, who aren't the name brand iconic folks, but how is that going to affect the people in the background? What if they're just all computer generated? That's going to take away a lot of jobs in Hollywood. And so that's a part of the sticking point. So I think this is part of the huge investment that you're seeing in AI. ChatGPT broke out. It was the first interface that was super easy to use. And that was in 2022 is when it was released, November, and has just taken the world by storm. Wanted to jump over. I'm not sure if everybody's seen ChatGPT. Let's see, move this out of the way. AI, ChatGPT. So ChatGPT is text. Now, this is different than photos or videos, obviously, in that it only creates text. But you can ask it pretty much anything. Tell me a knock joke. Okay, who's there? Lettuce who? Lettuce and it's cold out there. Oh, that's pretty good. So this is a, super simple. It's text-based. So what you put in this area over here is called a prompt. So these prompts, text in, text out. So if you tell it what to say, so let's say I want to get a cookie recipe. Let's see, give me an award-winning chocolate chip cookie recipe. Now you could Google it, but here it's writing it on the fly. You could actually see it thinking and typing it out. Step by step. It's even giving the tips. This is incredible. So text in, text out. Let's see. What if I want to talk about generative AI to a camera club? Write a 3-paragraph, 3 paragraphs on generative AI for a camera club. Thinking, thinking, thinking. Generative AI is a revolutionary advancement in the realm of technology and creativity. It's found its ways into the hearts of the camera club community. I mean, here it's writing the whole thing. So you can imagine if you were back in high school or college, the temptation that it would be to cheat, if you want to call it that, or to at least leverage this technology. And there are marketing firms and copywriting companies and all kinds of things that are expanding their ability to write over here. Okay, so what if I want to know, how do I photograph the Milky Way? All right, this is a subject that I'm familiar with, so let's see what it says. Yep, gotta no light pollution, check your moon phase, use a fast lens, get right ISO, gotta focus. I mean, this is actually really, really good advice. So it's kind of like a Google search, but more specific to you. And it's real time. It's not taking somebody else's information. It's not just showing you somebody else's information. It's kind of combining it, recombining it, and offering that up as in a summary. So ChatGTP is pretty incredible. Let me jump back over to our presentation. So if you hadn't seen ChatGTP, now you have, because it's remarkable in what it can do. And what it can do today, just fast forward 1 year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And so I wanted to make sure that we are on the leading edge of the curve, at least as a club, to be aware of what this can do photographically. So this was a very popular post that happened a few months ago. This was presidents with mullets. And so they typed in all of the presidents they had, and they gave them the haircut of a mullet. And so we've got Barack Obama there with those cool shades, Abraham Lincoln, bottom right-hand corner. There's Trump there in the middle. I'm not sure who that is on the bottom. And then Joe Biden there on the left, sporting those golden locks. And man, those guys look good in mullets. But that's all. There was no human artist, no camera. This is an illustration. Brock looks like that could be a photograph. Some of these are getting so real. This was Dolly that I used. It's a ChatGTP affiliate, or it's the ChatGTP of images. And so this was a photograph that was created of a beach scene just by using text. Same thing over here on the left-hand side. I said, give me a sunflower in the style of Ansel Adams. And it knew that Ansel Adams did black and white. And so it gave me that. Over on the right, this was a Grand Canyon sunset. And it's very photorealistic. I mean, it's super impressive with what it's able to do. Now, this gentleman here, we're going to jump to a video, Barry Beckham. It's about 10 minutes long. He's from England, and he has a very interesting style. But I really like the samples that he uses, and I think you will as well. So let me stop the share. I want to make sure when I jump on the share that I'm sharing the sound, and share again, and make sure that we're good to go. Mike, can you just let me know if you can hear this?
AI generative fill in Photoshop has the ability to cause a fair degree of stress among amateur photographers. We already have debate that asks where the line is between genuine photographic work that we can claim as our own, as opposed to computer generated, which we can't. AI generative fill doesn't just blur those lines, it nukes them completely. So why would this matter? Isn't photography always evolving? Well, it's likely going to matter to amateurs because if you belong to a camera club or a photographic society, a large part of your photographic world will be club competitions. Now that word competition does quite a number of things, some positive, some negative. On the positive side, it does inspire and encourage us all to be better at our photography and to try harder. When our images are given a mark in a competition by a competent judge, it gives us a rank amongst our peers. It helps us to see if we're making progress, to see how we're doing in relation to other members of our club. On the negative side, the word competition inspires a whole truckload of rules and regulations in an effort to keep those competitions fair. But rules and regulations are the enemy of creativity. Even if you're not a camera club member, the legitimate nature of your own photographic work is likely to be important to you and your own integrity. In an ideal world, people with integrity will want to be sure that what images they present to others is all their own work. The problem we may face is that we don't live in an ideal world. The nature of AI generative fill, and it's bound to get better than it currently is, already has the ability to fool even the most discerning judge, and that could prove irresistible to some. All of the images we've viewed so far were taken by me, but none of them could be now considered a legitimate entry into any camera club competition. Now, some of the changes that I've made are quite obvious, but most of them are not. Remember that generative fill will also remove content from an image, something we've been able to do now for quite some time. But with AI, it's now almost instant, and in most cases, foolproof. To download this beta version of Photoshop, go into your Creative Cloud app, down to the section saying Beta Apps, and you can download it from there. With an image opened up into the beta version of Photoshop, I've got the freehand lasso tool selected. Let's make a selection around the objects down here. As you can see, we don't have to be too careful, it's pretty quick and dirty. Now you'll notice you've got a little panel here. I'm going to put that up the top and I'm going to ask for it to be anchored there. I'm not sure this is fully working yet, but that's not vital. In the box which it says generative fill, if we click in there, but we don't type anything at all and just click generate, I'll allow this to work in real time. You can see the green bar. What's happening here? This entire image is being taken up into the clouds, probably worked on by an Adobe supercomputer, and then sent back down to this new version of Photoshop. And look at the job that it's done there. Now, generally speaking, it'll give us 3 versions of whatever we ask it to do. So we get an opportunity to choose one of 3, so we can pick the one that we like best. On this particular occasion, number 1 is leaving a little bit of something there, and I think one of the others is probably better. But I think you'll agree that to be able to take away all of that so quickly and easily is pretty dramatic. Now, if we found that none of those three options are working to our satisfaction, we can go back and just click to regenerate, and we'll get a further three, and we can see all of them shown here. So they're all kept, and we can see that it's added as a new layer, so the original image is always retained. The best of all worlds. So let's have a look and see what else we can do here. Maybe I'll select the polygonal lasso tool, maybe a bit easier for what I want to do here. Let's say I'm not too happy with what I've got here. A very quick selection around the outer edge. Click into the generative fill and hit the enter or the generate button, and will allow Photoshop to do its work once again. Now, in most cases, I found this is very, very successful. Even in the worst case scenario, a couple of touches with the healing brush would be all we need. And there you can see an example. So here I have quite a nice image, nice sky, nice colour, nice reflections, but there's not a great deal going on. Let's select the rectangular marquee tool and see what we can create. Just going to click and drag over that area, and in the generative fill box, a sailing boat with sails, and I'll hit the enter key. Once again, I'll allow this to run in real time, because none of this takes an enormous amount of time, as you can see with the previous examples. But as I remind you, this is being taken up into the clouds, worked on, and then returned to us. Now, that's not a very good result at all. So let's have a look at some alternatives, and you can see the sort of thing we get with generative fill. We win some and we lose some. And quite often, if we go back and we start again, for example, let me try making a different selection. Not sure yet whether this is going to make any difference, but we can put that selection in place, and in the generative fill, a sailing boat facing left to right. It's not foolproof, as I said a number of times, or I will say a number of times. So a lot of what I'm doing here is still trial and error. Does the AI know left to right yet? Remember, we're using a beta version. Well, as you can see here, it didn't give me exactly what I wanted. But let's take a look at the alternatives. Even that, it would not be seen as something that was instantly put into this picture, would it? And neither would that one. So we could try it once or twice. We could hit the generate button. But I actually played around with this image last night, and I got a far better result. So just being aware that when I try to demonstrate it live, so you can see what and how it happens, I retain that copy. So we'll just take a look at these three. Not too keen on those at all. That one works pretty well. I quite like that. But let me open up the one that I did last night, where the way I achieved it was exactly what I did just here. The difference with AI is even if you make the same selection, you're not going to get the same thing every time. Try changing the way you describe whatever you want placed in the picture.
So let me jump in here in terms of what have we learned so far. Let's go ahead and unmute yourself. And what's something that you've observed or learned from AI so far? Either ChatGPT or what we've seen here with the beta version of Photoshop.
What's it going to do? My wife and I. Sorry, go ahead. What's it going to do in a competition when people start using this stuff to generate photographs that they actually haven't taken?
Right. Well, that's why in our photograph rules, we say you have to say that you have
Who's that?
given that all the photographs in your image that you're submitting are yours. So that's a part of what we're doing. Maggie, you had something?
That's in ours, but what about some of these fair competitions and international, some of these people, you know, I mean, how will you determine if people have used AI? I mean, I'm not you personally, but how do we determine if it was an AI generated photograph?
It's definitely something that all camera clubs and all competitions are going to have to wrestle with. I want to be on the front curve of what we're wrestling with. Maggie?
Well, the only question I had was, if you're using a composite, say if you want to take a picture of a boat and put it into one of your landscapes or an ocean landscape, would that still be considered AI, or is that a composite? Where does that fall?
That's a good question. As long as you have your photo, if it was your photo of the boat and you put it in, then it's totally game. Then it's a composite. If it's AI generated, Carl, you want to answer that?
Well, yeah, the rules, what we tried to make it as simple as we could, but essentially all photographic elements within a composite. Composites are allowed. That's a photographic technique that's been used for 100 years. And composites are okay, but all photographic elements in the composite have to be photos that the entrant took. And how can we check that? With AI anymore, it's getting almost impossible to check it.
Yeah.
Okay, Michelle here.
I might point out that several years ago, a very well-known wildlife photographer took some photographs of some zebras in Africa, and he thought, wow, this is pretty cool. Let me just add a couple of more. He got caught. He apologized to everybody profusely, and bottom line was, it wasn't the original picture, even though he added more of his own photographs of zebras into that one image. Okay. If you look online and you look at various competitions that are worldwide, there have been a lot of people who have been disqualified after the fact that they found out that the photograph was a composite, or it was generated by AI and such. And unfortunately, the number of incidences are increasing instead of not decreasing. The same thing is happening in photojournalism and in sports photojournalism, where a photograph was taken. It was a great picture, but they added the ball. Well, the ball wasn't really there, and they've gotten caught. And in the issue with photojournalism and sports photojournalism, people have lost their jobs, and the publication has had to come out and say, we're sorry, blah, 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 and such. But the individual lost their job.
Yeah, Dave, I'm going to cut. Yeah, Dave, I'm going to cut you off there. This is an issue. Go ahead, Michelle.
Hi. Maybe it would be a good idea to have the participant or contestant submit their raw images of the images that they're compositing.
That is an interesting idea. We're going to talk about that very specifically at the end of my presentation.
So I actually have a secondary idea. I am an engineer, fairly high level engineer now. I was in on AI from its inception. You can challenge AI by taking any picture and asking AI to deconflict any merged images. So if you're in a contest adjudicating anything, you actually can tap into the power of AI to negate whatever's been done. Just say it.
This is a damned if you do and damned if you don't opportunity. What do we got? Pandora's box. Who else?
Bruce?
Yes.
I also have entered online competitions where you have to include your exit data so that they can see everything that you've done to that picture. So maybe that kind of thing.
There's lots of things to be thinking about. Let me jump back over here. Photor. There are several different, in fact, Deborah, thank you. This is a perfect segue. There are several different programs. Deborah Dorothy has been experimenting with Photor, and I thought it would be fun to have her share her experience and some of the results that she's been getting with Photor. So I'm going to go back to Zoom. You can share your screen,
Okay.
Deborah, and every tool, as you'll find out, has its own pluses and minuses.
Okay, is it me now?
Yep, it's all you. Looks good. I'm
Hi,
hungry.
everybody. He wanted me to share my experience with Photar, and I want to say I just started doing this. So I'm of the bent that if I do a picture with AI, I let everybody know. If I put it online, if I do anything with it, I let them know that it's an AI picture and not my personal picture. So I think that's an important thing for anybody, to not pass it off as your own picture, because then it takes the integrity of all photographers and makes people wonder, which is a sad thing. So anyway, what I did today, I came up with these, created them through Photar, F-O-T-O-R, and it's an online based one. It's something like $6.50 a month to do it, and I think you get like 500 pictures from it that you can generate. So I tried to do ones today to show you the different range that you can get with it. So here is, see if I can get this to do.
You sunk down past your ankles.
Huh? I'm sorry?
I just muted him.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to do a slideshow of ones that I did today just to show you an examples of what you can do.
This is incredibly diverse.
Yeah, I wanted to try all different things to show.
And you generated these by putting text or
Text in. I'll show you after this what I did. Okay, so let's go out of there. And so what I'm going to do is go to Photar, which I thought I had. Yeah, I've got open here. And so I'm going to put prompts in to show you how I did most of those pictures. So say I'm going to do, let me think. I'll do some roses just because that's an easy one to do. So let's say 3 beautiful white roses with pink centers. Let's see, with leaves. So you put in what you expect for it to have. And just because I put 3 roses, it hardly ever comes out 3 roses. You may have 6, you'll see. You may have 6, you may have 2, but you very seldom actually get what you put in, at least on this program that I've been using. Okay, so then I want to put what, I'll put black background You can put any color background you want. You can put just about anything you want, really. I'm also going to put in front of it watercolor painting. And then what you put after, you put in the description of what you want. Then you want to put in how much detail you think that that picture or that you want from that picture. So I would put extreme, realistic, super sharp. And you'll see if you do this and you take that out, you'll see a difference. So you really, want to put that kind of stuff in. And then let's see, if you look over here, we've got, I can do it as a photograph, concept art, Japanese animation, cartoon, 3D, oil painting, anime, illustration, psychedelic, art nouveau, line drawing, 90s, black and white. There's all kinds. So first, let's try oil painting and see what it comes up with.
So this is real time what we're seeing.
Yes, yeah, it's doing it right now. See what I mean? I put 3 white roses in, and you very seldom get what you actually put in. And
same thing. AI can't count.
Right. It generates this. So I don't like either of those. So I'm going to generate again. It'll do 2. I think you can do up to 4 at a time. But I do 2 because I may like from the first 2 may be fine. Okay, this one's better with the 3. But I'm going to go ahead and take this one, even though it's really too many roses, because I want to show you how to then edit it in Photoshop Beta. So then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to find it. I've got so many others on here, it's hard to find. Actually, don't see it there. Let me download it again. Maybe I didn't hit it. Download all. I don't want to download all. Okay, let's download. And we'll go back over to Photoshop Beta and see. There it is. Open. Okay, so we see that it's cutting off a rose up here. There's not much space, especially if you're going to do a stroke around it. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I'm going to right click on here, do duplicate layer, do that, come over to the crop tool, and I'm going to add some space all around it. Double click left, double click, and it'll do its magic. And there you go. So say I liked this. Well, I'm going to give it a little more space on the top here because I'm going to do something with it. So I'm going to go ahead, do the generate again. Okay, so it gives me a little space. Then say I want to put a butterfly on this one. And I want it to be touching the flower. So I'm going to touch the flower with the, so then I'm going to do generative fill, and I'm going to put butterfly in. Your prompt appears to use a language we don't support.
It wasn't spelled right, Deb.
Is that what it was? Thank
Yeah.
you. I should put my glasses on so I can see. There we go.
Oh, wow.
So it shows a butterfly and you get, so say I don't like either one of these butterflies, I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna undo, and I'm gonna do it over again. Butterfly. I've tried with the right facing and left facing. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So I don't know. So if you're happy with that, you can keep it. You could move the thing around, but you can't really because it doesn't line up. It does the whole area that you're doing. So you pretty much, if you decide to move it somewhere else, you got to do it all over again. So let's go. Do we have time for me to go back and do Bruce?
I've got items to show as well. What are you thinking?
Okay, that's okay. I was just gonna say that people could give me a couple prompts.
Oh, sure, yeah, perfect.
And we could use their prompts and see what comes up. We got time for that?
Yep.
Okay, anybody want to give me some prompts? Don't all speak up at once.
Yeah, unmute yourself and give her a prompt.
So
Yes.
Deb, I have a question.
Sure.
How do you get around the intensity, luminance, contrast difference between what AI is adding and what the
it's way too much. Yeah, it's way too much. What I just go, let's see, like let's go back to here. I would just come in, hue saturation, and I did this on almost all of mine. It's just too saturated, you know, it's like way saturated. Look, you could, well, it's not doing it now.
It's just doing it on the butterfly.
Yeah, I've got to save it first. So I'm going to save it.
Yeah, you definitely have to. You were doing that to the butterfly.
Right. So you save it, you go back to it, and now you can take the yeah, because they really oversaturate everything. You can take it totally out, go a little bit. You can do it to whatever you want. That's where they have it, which is a lot. So I probably would take it down to maybe like that. Anybody else have any questions?
I think there was something in the chat. Mike, why don't you say what you did? Or your prompt. You had a prompt there.
You have a prompt?
Sure. If you could put in devil pigs flying a dragon through Times Square.
Can you speak just a little louder, please?
Devil pigs
flying
a dragon.
Oh, flying a dragon, okay.
Through Times Square. Oops, spell Times Square.
Yeah, I gotta go back and.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm gonna add the sharpness. Do you want it realistic or cartoonish or what?
Realistic.
Okay.
Because that's exactly what real pigs look like when they're flying.
Right. We want it to look like real pigs.
Realistic devil pigs.
What do you, oh, okay, you said the Times Square, so that'll be our background. which one of these over here, photography, concept art, Japanese, all of these, pick which one you want, Mike.
Photography.
Photography, okay. I gotta say, for me, that's my least favorite one. And I think because it's not real, I don't like doing it where it looks totally real, like real photography. I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah, so I think that brings up a really good point, because there's a real distinct difference between what we achieve or attempt to achieve photographically versus what we achieve to create.
Right. Okay, let's try oil paint and see what happens. Everything you try it with, you get a different example or sample, I guess I should say. And it's funny, I was doing one the other day and I put peacock feathers and I kept getting this thing saying that it doesn't meet, it's obscene. And, yeah, so it's like you can't put peacock feathers in. Well, this is what we get. I don't see a pig. I guess this is kind of a pig body down here. I don't know. So anyway, that's Photar. Any other questions?
Thank you, Deborah.
Okay, thank you.
That is just fascinating. And I'm going to share my screen now.
Okay, good.
All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
I'm going to jump on to Lightroom here. All right. So I was shooting for Applebee's, doing some photo work. And one of the things that they do with Applebee's is for their new store designs is they have pictures of their food, but then they also try to do hyper local pictures of the location. So I was up in Hanford and it was a blue sky. I mean, no clouds in the sky whatsoever. So I popped in some clouds here, but I thought this would be a fun one to work with, to look at, maybe I wanted to add a second story or whatever. Was forced to reopen. So very similar to what Deborah did here. I'm going to add some height to this. So it's empty up here. And I'm going to add, we'll see what it does. I'm just going to take this over here and I'm going to type in add a second story. So maybe a good idea, maybe a bad idea. And that's, I think, going to be the theme of all AI experience is it might be good, it might be bad. Who knows? Well, there you go. Not very realistic looking. Oh, that's interesting. That could be realistic looking. Different ideas. And if I didn't like that, I can just simply go back to here. I could regenerate again, or I'm just going to see if I hit nothing, what is it going to do? And again, this is real time. This is quite amazing. All right, it thought that that would be a good idea. Well, there's that. Back to what we were looking at before. And so sometimes you like what you get, sometimes you don't like what you get. Let's say I wanted to extend the neighborhood. This is not photojournalism, that's for sure. And let's be clear about that. This is not photojournalism. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to add some space to the left. And I'm going to select this space here. And I'm not going to type in anything, and let's just see what we get. I'm going to add to the neighborhood. Oh, that was terrible. So I don't even know what it's thinking there. This is horrendous. Oh, some of this is humorous. Some of this is humorous for sure. So I'm going to close that. Definitely don't want to keep that. So let's jump back over here for another example that I was looking at the other day. This I thought was remarkable. Edit in Photoshop beta. So I've got this beautiful picture, but I have this pole. This pole. I don't want the pole there. It's not adding anything. It's distracting. So I'm going to select this pole. And I'm not going to type in anything. I'm just going to remove the pole and see what it puts in. And what it's doing is it's analyzing the photo. Now hold it. Where did the pole go? It knew to match this style on the right over in here. That is impressive. Is that one better? That one better? They're just very slight differences. That is impressive. Now, here's the trick. This photograph is 4,000 or 6,000 pixels tall. All AI right now is a different resolution. Can you see on the left versus the right? This is a much lower resolution. So I can't just stick this in as is. The proper way to the proper way to do this would be to do one piece at a time. And there's, I think it's 1,280 pixels or something like that. There's some sort of number, and you can go down over here and you just do it in smaller chunks. And it'll give you the similar results. Now, the question that I have, again, something to ponder. Don't need you to answer that over there. Okay, that's not good. No, I'm not looking. I don't want a shorter pole. I want no pole. So I'd have to play with that. But what's the difference between me going in here in my background, selecting a piece? Let me zoom in so you can see it a little bit better. Coming in here. Where's my clone tool? Coming over here. What do I have? Can't see my opacity is 100% normal. So I'm going to come up. What's the difference between me doing this and using the AI? And I would say pretty much nothing. It's one just did it in one fell swoop. This one over here, if I dedicated and copied and pasted this over on this side, I could have figured it all out. But that's a really good use of the AI editing right there.
Bruce, try the remove tool under that healing thing and see how that works. Do you mind?
Yep. Jump over here. Let me open it up again. This is also a new feature in the Photoshop beta. They have the spot healing brush, which we're all familiar with. Then it has a remove tool opposed to the healing brush. So they've added a third type of brush, and it's specifically designed to take stuff out.
Bruce, I don't think that's in the beta version. I think that's the actual version.
All right, I am in. It may be. I'm in the beta version right now. So did it take it out? I'm highlighting it. No, it's removing the rust off of the, it's moving the rust off of it, but it's not moving the rest of it. Moving the rust. Interesting.
That's weird. Yeah.
Every tool, there we go. That's a little bit better results. Every tool is different. And so this is one of those things where you've got to get in there and play with it.
Try it, Bruce. Go back and try it. If you make a background copy, you're doing it on the original. Try doing it with a background copy, and I think it'll work.
My experience is no.
No?
There's no difference, but I'll go ahead and try it.
Try it and see.
While you're doing that, Bruce,
come again?
This is not at all contradictory or confrontational, but just in the interest of being a purist. I try to get everything right in the camera before I even hit the trigger.
Sure.
And
you can't get that pole out in camera though.
I think my average time of post is probably 1 to 2 minutes because I'm not that great at it yet. And when I think about how long this conversation has taken place, it's what I felt like when I first started.
Yes. Well, that would be a, I think Ansel Adams would take a very different approach. His time in the darkroom was hours with hundreds of edits. Not saying that that's right or wrong, but
that's a really good point.
He was very much editing in terms of, I think he would be pro Photoshop. So I'm getting a little bit better results. I don't know that my other, so again, there's many ways to skin the cat. Sorry to the cat people. I think I saw Judith just jumped on. So let me jump into another one. There are more AI tools here. AI, Imagine Dolly is one of them. Now, how many of you saw the Disney movie WALL-E? WALL-E is a combination of Dolly is a combination of WALL-E from the movie and Salvador Dali, who was an artist. And so I'm going to go back over here to my AI, to the chat GTP, because I told Dolly, I said, give me a prompt. So I'm using AI to create I want to see Abraham Lincoln dancing. And so let's see what we get here. I'm going to copy this this prompt the same way that Deborah was typing in a prompt. Here's a prompt, photorealistic image of Abraham Lincoln dancing in a ballroom. And let's see what we get. So I'm going to type that in right over here, generate, and let's see. What do you think? Survey says, and again, this is real time. This is coming up with, now hold it. That is not realistic. That's not realistic. That's not realistic. That's not realistic. What I tried yesterday wasn't realistic. None of these were realistic. In fact, some of these look horrific. Not exactly what I was looking for. But let me go to another AI. Again, every tool is tuned differently. This is Imagine AI. I'm going to type in that exact same prompt. Let's see what I get. It's working on it. Here we go. Now it looks like he's dancing by himself on a ballroom floor. Let me try it again. Working on it. Same thing, dancing by himself. And again, just like Photar, there are various styles that you can use. Make a Disney, some that you have to pay for. They're always happy for you to pay for things. See. So Photoshop.
Bruce, I think the point here is that even though your Abraham Lincoln shot or images are kind of like not really very good,
Yeah.
bottom line is just wait a year.
Exactly. All of these are going to grow up. So I'm going to take this same prompt here, pop it into Photoshop. So what do you think? Better or worse? Is the question. Generate, boom, 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 copy, move over here to Photoshop. Better or worse? Over or under? Put your money down. You in or you out? Let's see what we get.
And while this is running, if you remember your second slide in your presentation, the amount of money being spent.
Oh yeah.
If I don't remember it, but it looked like last year they spent twice as much in AI generation than the year before. The United States did.
And it's continued.
So, once again, the Abraham Lincoln looks pretty bad right now, but just wait a year.
Well, and notice here, we're running into the 3-arm effect. You may have read about that.
Bruce?
1, 2, 3 arms.
Bruce, when I first started doing Photar, I was getting that like crazy, and the faces were not nice. And it's just been 6 weeks, and they've improved it in just that short of time to what I showed
right?
you. Yeah.
It's one of those things, it's like the weather in certain parts of the country. If you don't like it, just wait. Just wait a few minutes. It's coming. It's changing. So what I think was going to happen is that every genre of photography is going to have to come up with their own rules. Photo on the left is real. Photo on the right is AI. This is the Audubon Society. They're running into this exact same thing. Photo on the left is real. Penguin on the right is not. Photo on the left is real. And we're, we have some great bird photographers in our camera club. And so I think there's going to have to be some sort of reckoning with how, how people are going to, the ethics and the standards that people are going to need to present photography. This was corporate headshots. This is real world stuff. This person here, they thought that the future of headshots is wonderful. So they took the headshots and then they uploaded it to AI, and they were able to give, this is the real person on the left, this is their AI version on the right. Totally, clearly manipulated. But how many touch-up artists go through magazine artists and you can't tell the original photo from the touched up one? It's the same person, kind of. Now you got issues of, with AI. This was a gal who's in one of the Ivy League schools. She said, I want to have my make my photo look better for LinkedIn. And the AI turned her white. This is offensive. This is terrible, where there is race and bias that comes in. Let me show you my experience in Dolly. I was doing some experimenting with, I wanted a photographer, let me look at my history, a photographer who dropped their camera, right? Photographer who had dropped their camera. Well, it was giving me a stream of Asian typical, stereotypical. I was offended when I got these images that they were all Asian people with cameras. How do you deal with race when it comes to, so if I didn't want an Asian person, now I have to type in, I want a black person or a white person. How am I supposed to describe what I'm wanting? I just wanted a person who was frustrated from dropping their camera.
So Bruce, I think if you want to separate photography from AI, I think the whole industry of AI has to separate itself from photography. Photography is very much a real-time imagery. AI is creative artistry.
And that's a very good point, and we're going to get there here in just a sec. So then you've got photo contests where AI images have won the contest. And then on the opposite end of this extreme, you have real photos that are being disqualified because they, quote unquote, look like they were created by AI. So in this case here, this was a photograph taken by a real person. These are mannequins in the back, but because they look fake, the judges wouldn't allow it in. So you've got both ends of the spectrum.
So Bruce, again, I go back to who adjudicates the photographs. If the people adjudicating the photographs understand the difference between AI and photography, they are very, very capable of understanding what's what, and they can separate them out very easily.
Yes, what we're seeing here is the technology hype cycle. We are at the, I don't know if we're even at the peak of the curve, but innovation happens, everybody gets excited about it, and then I say everybody, then everybody goes, no, this isn't going to work, and it goes all the way down, and then we find out, okay, this is where it works, the plateau of productivity. So I still think we are in the early stages. All of those graphs that I was showing you, the investment into NVIDIA and other programs, they're all very similar. So I think a lot of this depends, your perspective on AI depends on what hat you're wearing. If you're a content creator, this opens up some incredible new opportunities. If you're a content user, so for example, I'm the marketing director at our company, I don't need to buy a photograph, I just want an image. From if it's created by the content creator or not, which then comes back to, well, it opens up some great editing ideas for the content creator, but then they might get out of a job because I'm not buying their photos anymore. And camera clubs, they are in a whole different boat. So is AI actually learning?
This raises multiple questions. Is the AI really learning creativity and imagination? On the one hand, if you look at art and video created by AI, it can be beautiful, original, and amazing. On the other hand, the AI only learns this by doing math at the pixel level, while studying creations made by people. Is that really creativity?
Another question is the issue of copyright. AI learns by studying the creations of others, and the original creators may want to say in this. Of course, when humans learn to create, they also study creations made by others. So the legal questions here are not simple.
We're still in the very early days of teaching AI how to create new types of media.
They are. We are in the very early stages. So part of the problem is we've got this fight against misinformation. What is true? You've got these deep fakes that are going on. And the problem is the people who we most trust, or at least could be the most trusted, are politicians and the people in the pulpit. Those are the guys that are the easiest to fake because they have the most amount of online content that you could eat. That same thing with newscasters. So some of the top folks that should be voicing truth are the easiest ones to fake, which puts us in a very interesting predicament. So I want to stop with this tool here, Content Authenticity Initiative. This is put out, it's open source by Adobe.
Authenticity Initiative. So a little bit more about this. CAI, as we like to call it, a little easier off the tongue, now has more than 800 members, is developing open source technology available to all that helps establish provenance and attribution of a piece of content. So people who create media can choose to add content credentials that show who made the content and how. So adding provenance and attribution is a real powerful solution, we think, to some of the modern challenges that we face today. You know, in a world of social media and misinformation, content credentials can help us determine who made what and how it was made and whether it can be trusted. And I'm proud to say that 2 leading camera manufacturers, Leica and Nikon, are implementing content authenticity into 2 new cameras, making it easy for photographers to attach content credentials to their work from the moment of the shot. Earlier, David mentioned the content authenticity.
That is huge. So what is not well known now, just give it a little while. We're right from the get-go.
But misinformation threatens to split us apart. So we're building a new digital standard to help. When a photojournalist captures an image, they can choose to preserve its key facts, like who shot it, where they were, and when it happened. Then, when the image appears on screens all around the world, its history moves with it. And if anything was changed along the way, everyone can see. We're starting with images, but the standard will embrace all content. It's an ambitious initiative, but our goal is simple. Less misunderstanding, more trust. Fewer divisions, more bridges. Instead of the internet becoming a place of doubt and uncertainty, we can help keep it a place built on strong connections, where great ideas can thrive, where we can all move forward together.
So we are at the cusp of one of the most revolutionary technology in the history of mankind. And this is going to affect us as individuals, us as a country, and it's definitely going to affect camera clubs as we move forward. So I wanted to present this just to raise your awareness of the tools that are available. What is currently not widely spread now, you know, that's 2 camera manufacturers. Actually, 2 camera manufacturers with 2 cameras. That's not it there. That not total. That's not a lot yet. But if you can imagine thousands of cameras and being able to mark those images at the point of creation and track that all the way through, you know what's been manipulated, what's been not, and you're back to, I know this, I can trust this, this is what's true. So we live in interesting times. One of the Chinese proverbs or Japanese proverbs is, you know, may you live in interesting times. And we definitely live there now. So that's what I got for you.